Hey, Tom, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rachel. Looking forward to it.
Me too. I can already tell you're going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited to dive in. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into doing what you're doing?
Okay, so I've been in sales and marketing for about 39 years, I suppose, and it all started 39 years ago when I launched my own business at quite a young age, as it was back then. It's a bit different now. Every man and his dog seems to start a business in the garage at 16 or something. But back then it was a bit of a novelty. Um, and so where I'm at now, if we trace it back, it was actually those first number of years were quite frustrating, and because I understood at a pretty early age that nothing happened in your own business unless a lead was generated. Because unless you get an inquiry, you didn't have anyone that was going to buy, and you didn't get any cash flow, so you couldn't pay the staff, and you couldn't get any money out of the company, and so on. So I set up out at a pretty early age to crack this thing we could now call marketing, and I paid a lot of money to a lot of people and went to a lot of workshops and attended a lot of seminars and read a lot of books, and nothing happened. And my new clients tell me it's no different today. The average new client has done. I think we did a show of hands over a number of sessions, and something like an average of 7 occasions they've paid money to people who essentially said something like, "Trust me, give me your money, and I'll show you how to get new clients." And the advice was either completely fallacious, in other words, they were almost fraudulent, the sellers of this advice, or it was just simply ineffective. And that was my story. That's the origins of what I do now in leadsology is trying to figure out how the heck to generate quality inbound leads.
So, what is leadsology?
Well, leadsology is the original book called Leadsology is subtitled as The Science of Being in Demand. So it's all around generating demand. And more specifically, it's about generating inbound new client inquiries. And the reason that I emphasize inbound is that I market services and advice, a bit of software as well, under the Leadsology brand. And when you're marketing something that's not physical, you're actually marketing a relationship. You're not marketing a thing. You're not actually marketing a program or a piece of software. You're marketing a long-term relationship, because people have to trust you before they're going to purchase.
Yep.
The sequence goes: they get interested in the benefits of your service, whether it's software, advice, coaching, programs, seminars, whatever. They're interested in the benefits of that, and then they want to know if you're professional and have integrity and you can deliver on that promise. And after that, they want to know about the features. So how does it all work? Do we meet together? Is it online? Is it offline, etc.? So that's the sequence: interested in the benefit, interested in the person, then interested in the features. So in order for someone to make an inquiry, they have to have confidence that I've got some integrity. And that means they have to have at least a first date with me, so to speak. Otherwise, it'd be like, proposing marriage at first sight. And whilst, as you can see, I'm amazingly good looking and have a full head of hair flowing out, it might not work. So, but if you have a couple of dates, maybe people can see beyond, the skin deep beauty I have and see the inner beauty, sort of thing. So, so inbound marketing is for professionals marketing services, advice, or software of some sort, typically as business coaches, consultants, etc. And it's the only form of marketing that works. And that was the big problem I had in the early days. Is I go to this marketing conference, and the speakers on the stage were talking about marketing for everyone: for the dry cleaner, for the car salesperson, for the realtor, and for the consultant and the coach, which is more sort of my category. And what I discovered is you can't do that. Because what works for a dry cleaner, or putting a billboard up on the side of a freeway to sell a half-price set of golf clubs, that works fine for something physical, but not when you're marketing services or advice.
For sure. I love that. Do you think a lot of people are trying to propose too quickly in their
Yeah,
business?
premature proposition. I checked this out with my wife. I asked her one day who she thought was the world's most irresistible man, and she came up with Hugh Jackman. She said, "Yeah, I think Hugh Jackman, the greatest showman," and so on. And I still remember having coffee in the kitchen. It's just a true story. And I remember saying to her, "Yeah, Hugh Jackman, I get that. He's a hunk, right? He's got a body Adonis would die for. He's good looking." And I happen to know a bit about him. He's Australian, and I live in Australia. And he does a lot of charity work. He's an environmentalist. He's a philanthropist. She's a great actor, singer, dancer. I mean, she's Louise. So I said to her, what would happen? What would you do if he knocked on the door right now and you put your coffee down, went over and he proposed to you? You dropped to one knee, held up a big diamond ring and said, look, you don't know me from a bar of soap, but my name's Hugh Jackman. Would you run away with me and marry me and make me the happiest man on earth? And I still remember she looked at me and she said, well, you know, I love you, right? And I said, yeah, I think, yeah, I think I know what's coming next. She said, well, I'm sorry, but I'll probably run away with him. It's Hugh Jackman. I sort of wiped a tear out of the corner of my eye, and I thought about it. And I said, you know, I don't think you need to apologize, because if it were me that answered the door and Hugh Jackman proposed to me, I'd probably go too, and I'm not even gay. Because it's Hugh freaking Jackman. And a lot of people are doing their marketing like the commercial equivalent of Hugh Jackman. Like, you know, they go to a business networking meeting and put their business card into someone's hand, hoping that they will accept the proposal to meet and talk about becoming a client. Or they send out 10,000 direct mail letters and say, call me if you're interested in SEO services or whatever it happens to be. Or on LinkedIn, you know, would you like to meet and talk about, I don't know, pay-per-click advertising or something? Well, we haven't had a first date yet, and you're proposing that we talk about marriage. So no, it's a bit soon. So for the reason I mentioned before, and that is that when we're marketing service advice or software, it's actually more like we're proposing marriage than just say selling a washing machine. And we've got to allow people to have that first date. And that's essentially what inbound marketing does. Inbound marketing makes an offer to someone after we know they have an interest. Whereas outbound marketing makes an offer before we know if they have an interest.
Okay.
Either way, we're trying to intersect an ideal client with an offer that they're interested in. But the difference is, you remember those old sales? I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but we used to have like 12, 20-page sales letters that used to go out.
No, not old enough to remember that.
Well, you see the more recent manifestation of that, of this outbound letter on websites. The long sales page, you know, the guy like goes on for like 20, 30 screens. And that's based on the old direct mail letters where we would send out 10, 20, 30, $50,000 letters, not knowing if the recipient had any interest whatsoever in whatever it was we were marketing, our golf clubs or. So there had to be a long letter because we had to explain to people why they should have an interest in whatever this product or service was, and what the competitors were and why we were different. And so that's why you'd have these 20-page long sales letters. And people say people never read them, but they did. And they did. You know, I had a friend who's in marketing, Alan, and Alan was Irish, and you know, the Irish love their whiskey and their Guinness. And he said, you know, I'd never read a long email. I said, what if it was about a free whiskey tasting? He said, I'd read that one. And that's what people do with long sales letters. You and I might look at a long sales letter about a certain car and think, well, who would read that? But somebody in that car would certainly read it. So, but that's all outbound marketing. Radio advertising is traditionally outbound marketing. So I would say this, the medium doesn't determine whether the marketing is inbound or outbound. A lot of people say, well, if you have pay-per-click, that must be inbound, right? Because people are clicking and making an inquiry. Depends what you offer in the pay-per-click ad. If you're offering a first date, then yes, it's inbound marketing. If you're offering for someone to meet and buy or buy, then it's outbound marketing. So it's not the medium that determines whether it's inbound or outbound. It's the sequence. We've got to give people some great quality content, the first date, the second date, the third date, the fourth date. And by the way, on average, it's 5 dates before you can propose in terms of in the marketing world. So people might listen to the podcast show, they might download a free guide, they might attend a webinar, they might whatever. But on the 5th occasion, we've tracked this, we know this is true. On average, the majority of people don't make an inquiry, so they might not book a consult or something until the 5th exposure to your brand, 5th date.
So let's give some examples of what that might look like. So you said like listen to a podcast. What are some other things that they might do leading up to that 5th date?
Right. Well, there's a podcast. They might read your blog. You might share an article on LinkedIn that they miraculously read because there's like 1,700 a minute posted there. They might attend a webinar. They might download a PDF guide. They might do a 5-day or a 5-hour challenge of some sort. They might attend a summit where they hear you speak. They might be involved. They might be the recipient of a giveaway with a free whatever. So they might join your Facebook group. So there's a lot of different ways to get your brand into people's brain and keep it there until they're ready to buy. And it's, in simple terms, we'd call it content marketing.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So it takes about 5 at least for them to actually say yes and do
On
the
average.
purchase.
Yeah.
Do some people take longer?
Yeah. Some people take forever. I mean, we have, I joke with a new client who came on, had been on my email list for something like 11 years. I
Oh,
said, well,
wow.
I finally got you.
11 years. That's crazy.
Yeah. But it's a great question, actually, because if you look at any audience, this is on average, but now the medium will vary, but whether they're email subscribers, but most particularly webinar attendees, this is the classic. So 3% of your audience members are what I call seekers. They're proactively looking for a solution and they're ready to buy. And really, all the seeker needs is that first date, and they where's the link? Where do I buy? They'll even want to skip a consult. They'll just go, I'm hooked. I need it. I've been looking for it. You seem to be the real deal. Where do I go ahead and buy it? But that's only 3%, right? And we're talking, services or advice that is going to cost thousands of dollars, not sort of $19. But 3% are seekers, 12% are explorers, and they're the ones that on average need 5 exposures to your brand. And this is why having a follow-up sequence to any event is so highly profitable, because they might have had the first exposure to your brand at the webinar, but if you have a 4-step follow-up sequence, say with a PDF summary of the webinar, maybe a 5-minute video summary of the webinar, a 1-page blueprint of the seminar, that's the formula we pretty much follow, then by the time they get to the final call to action, that's their 5th exposure. They book a consult or they buy the workshop or the program or whatever. So 3% seekers, 12% are the explorers. So if you don't have any follow-up assets, if all you have is one string to your marketing bow, you're missing out on a lot of business.
Yeah.
And 85%, a whopping 85%, are wanderers. So they're just, there for the show. They don't have any explicit intention to buy anything. In fact, very often they'll say, I am not buying anything. I'm going to go to this conference, but I'm not going to buy anything. Sometimes they do. But the aim of the game with inbound marketing is to take those wanderers and shift them to explorers.
How do you do that?
Another great question. So if we're, let's say you and I decide to go to a walk on through a forest on a Sunday morning. Don't tell your husband, but we just decide we're just going to go for a walk. Why? Because we want to go for a walk in nature. That's all. We're not wanting to get anywhere. Sound like a wanderer, right? We're just going to wander through the forest. And let's say we're walking through the forest, and out of the corner of your eye, you see this sparkling, glinting, shiny thing, just, I don't know, 10 feet off the path. And it's pretty easy to get to. So you're curious and you go over there, and it's this massive diamond just sitting on the forest floor, sparkling in the sunshine. You pick it up. And this is a question for listeners. Once you picked it up, what's the very first thing you do? Probably even before you put it in your pocket or your bag, you look around and see if there's more diamonds. And now you've gone from being a wanderer to an explorer. So if you give a wanderer great content, something that wakes up their desire and activates the awareness of their need for whatever it is you've got, you're going to shift them from a wanderer to an explorer. It's actually a lot easier, a lot more predictable to shift an explorer to a seeker.
How do you
But
do
they normally need, the explorers almost always need that consult or that chat or that strategy session or whatever we're going to call it. And if you do your marketing right, what happens is it shouldn't be a sales ambush. We've all had those icky, awful strategy sessions which end up in arm twisting. And if you don't buy now, what's your plan B? And if you do buy now, well, we'll discount the price, but if you come back later, then, we're going to add on 50%. All that manipulative BS, you don't need that if you do your marketing right, because your prospects are qualified. Happy to share with you more on that if you wanted, but the prospects are qualified and they come to the meeting hoping to confirm that you're the right offer, you're the right option. So there's no good marketing results in confirmation, not in convincing.
So how do you qualify those people before they get on the call?
Well, great question. So the way we do it is that when they go to a consult booking page, and that's my plan A, is always to have people come through a consult, because then I can validate that I've got something that is going to work for them, and they can validate, vice versa, sort of thing. What we traditionally do is we ask them to agree before the consult that they can afford to work with me, that the timing is good for them to start, that they have attended a webinar, or if they haven't, then they will watch the replay prior to us meeting. They can feel free to go ahead and book, but they'll, and because I want to meet with people that know how I work with my clients, that have confirmed they can afford to work with me. Otherwise, it's going to be wasting their time as much as it's wasting my time.
Yeah.
And that they're ready to start. If we agree it's a good idea. Because we've all had those consults where you meet with this person and it just goes click, 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 click. You feel like, yeah, we should get married. Commercially speaking, we should work together. And they go, oh, I'm so excited about working with you, Rachel. This is exactly what I've been looking for. Where were you 10 years ago? Look, I'm just going on my summer vacation. I'll be back in 4 months, and I'll reconnect then, okay? And you go, yeah, right, well, no one does that. So we don't want that scenario. We also don't want the scenario where someone is talking with you and they're excited and so on, and then they say, well, what's it cost? And you give them the price, and they go, oh, I could never afford that, because it's just been a big fat waste of time. So this is really old 1950s paradigm. I mean, as far as I could trace it back further than actually to the 1920s, where you just got to get some sucker in the room, and we got to basically take 7 no's before we let him go out of that room, It's really old school BS that no just is a request for more information. Well, actually, no sometimes actually means no. Mm-hmm. It just sometimes, well, we know that from the Me Too movement, hopefully we knew it before that, but no means no. I do not want SEO services today. Go away, you annoying person. But that's the whole pushy sales thing. So we don't want to do that. So the beautiful thing about content marketing is that you draw in the people that are interested in your subject matter. And I call it the 100 sleeping bears. So there's a forest of 100 sleeping bears. Magically, somehow we know 3 of them are hungry for our honey. Bears are a metaphor for prospective clients, of course. Honey's a metaphor for our services or advice, whatever we're marketing. And if you think about this, we want the bears to eat our honey. We've got a couple of options. We can go running through the forest with a big sharp stick and find a bear, poke it in the bum with a stick and wake it up. If it's one of the 3 that's hungry, it'll eat our honey and not us. If it's one of the 97 that's not hungry, you better be a very good runner. And that's cold calling. That's outbound marketing. Mm-hmm. Whereas inbound marketing simply takes that same honey pot, puts it outside the forest. The hungry bears wake up and come out of the forest to sample the honey. That's the difference between cold calling, outbound marketing, and inbound marketing. It's a much gentler process because we ask people to put their hand up and say if they have an interest in the subject.
Got it. Okay. So to attract quality people to you, what I'm hearing is create content, be consistent with it. And then if they book a call, you have some kind of form where they fill it out, where you're kind of qualifying them based off of like timing, income, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
And just know that 100% of people are not going to be qualified, and it's going to be more like 3%.
Yeah. Well, the 3%, the seekers will book that consult straight away. They might even feel a little frustrated they've got to go through a consult, but it's actually more profitable for everyone if they do, because you confirm that you've got something that's going to work for them.
Yeah. Because
there's nothing worse than having a client that you really struggle to help, either because there's not a communication click, or they just, it's a square peg in a round hole. Your solution is not quite right for them. So we don't want that. So we want to have the consult because it's good for the prospective client, and it's also far more profitable if you have. What I say to all my clients is, look, you want to have your whatever it is, $2,000 a month coaching service, or your whatever it is, $50,000 consulting package, or whatever it happens to be, corporate training package, whatever. But you also want to have something that's like 10 times, 20 times the price, because for 2 reasons. First of all, so if you have a look at my options, there's $800 a month, $1,500 a month, $25,000 a month.
$25,000 a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which,
so what do you
by
offer
the way,
for that?
I mean, yeah, no, prefer to sell that, but I mean, No one
Is the
buys that.
goal, yeah, is the goal to sell that, or is it just to,
It's an aspirational goal.
uh-huh.
So if I had, say, I mean, one day someone will. So if you had say a CPA partnership with 12 partners and they all wanted leads, that would be a $25,000 a month product. I'd go in and set it up for them, train them on how to use it, and that would be $25,000 a month over 12 months. But other than being an aspirational product, it makes the others look much less expensive.
Totally, like price anchors them, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and exactly. Yeah, it's a relative thing. Price is incredibly relative, and it's flexible and stretchable and everything else. The other thing is, and I had this with a corporate trainer client of mine from Melbourne, Australia, who's had these $12,000 packages. I said, "Man, I have a $50,000 package." He said, "Why?" I said, "Well, how many $50,000 packages will you sell if you don't have one?"
Hmm.
Not many, right?
Right. So you need
and
to have,
and within 12 months, he'd sold one for 50 grand. He was pretty pleased with that.
yeah.
So yeah, but have a package which is a lot more expensive, because every now and then someone will actually buy that. And when I developed an online program, for a while I was saying, well, come to the consult and figure out if you're a program person or a private coaching person. And the private coaching person is $50,000, and the program person, whatever $795 times 12 is, what is that, $8,000, $9,000 something. Anyway, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
And I noticed that on the consults, every now and then, I would say about 1 out of every 20 consults, I'd say to someone, it sounds like you've got quite a highly specialized product. For example, we had an architect from Seattle who was designing high-end luxury apartments in China. That's pretty specialized, right? And I said, you might want to think about a private coaching as opposed to the group coaching. He said, I don't think I'm really a group person. I said, well, it's exactly the same modules. You would go through them in the privacy of your own office or home. The only difference is we would meet one-on-one in between each week. Each week we'd meet one-on-one. But it's 10 times the price. He said, yep, sign me up. I said, but you'll be going through the same modules. Yep, absolutely. So long as I can meet with you one-on-one. So there are people out there who have plenty of money and are prepared to pay for your personal attention, to be walked through it step by step yourself. So you want to have that as an option, so that because someone will buy it, right?
Totally. I get kind of frustrated in a sales experience if someone only recommends me the cheapest option and they don't tell me kind of all of them so I can
Right.
choose. And they just kind of assume that everyone would want the
Yeah.
cheapest option.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
everyone's different.
that's not really how you roll. Same deal. I used to do a lot of running, and you'd go into a sports shop to get a new pair of shoes and get some assist, and you say, well, these are on special, these are half price. I said, actually, you're better off showing me the most expensive ones, because other ones I'll probably end up buying.
Right.
Oh, okay, well, this one's a third off. No, the most expensive ones, not the cheapest ones.
Yep.
But that
Totally.
says something. It's a reflection of their mindset, I suppose, and it's probably also, to be fair, it might be a reflection of the questions they get asked constantly. But
Sure.
yeah, so you're one of the premium price buyers. Yeah, we should talk later on.
I get it from my dad. Like that's totally how he is.
Yeah.
So okay, so it's kind of what I'm hearing from you is it's kind of a numbers game to get the right people in. Is there anything else you can do to really attract those premium buyers, those premium clients?
Yeah. Right. So if you think of the model in big picture terms, we need an audience
Mm-hmm.
for our webinar, to read our book, to do our 5-day challenge or whatever. And we need an asset. We need a mechanism through which to get the first date opportunity happening, and the proposal, and maybe we should meet, book a consult. And we need that call to action. So if you think of, and all marketing has the same three elements to it. There's got to be an audience. Freeway drivers watching their billboard on the side, that's an audience. Radio listeners, an audience. Amazon book readers are an audience. Webinar attendees, an audience, so on and so on and so on. Podcast listeners, audience, so on. Got to be an audience. Got to be an asset, which is the podcast, the book, the webinar, whatever the event, and it's got to be a call to action. So the question is, what's the best source of an audience? Because you just said it's a numbers game, and it is a numbers game.
Mm-hmm.
It's quality and quantity. It can't be one or the other. It's like, think of it like a water filter. If you've got dirty storm water and you're thirsty, you want to drink it, you need two elements to go through that. First of all, you need a volume of water to go through, because the filter is going to take a lot of sediments and a lot of volume out. And you need enough filters. If you don't have the volume and you have enough filters, and my filters are, can you afford to work with me? Is the timing right to start? All those things we talked about before. So you've got the filters in place, but you don't have the volume. You just get drips out the bottom. That's not enough to sustain you. And if you don't have the filters, enough filters, then you get dirty water out the bottom, which you can't drink. And that's like poor quality consults. People can't afford to work with you. People's timing's bad. People just don't fit and so on. So we got to have the numbers and the audience. The best source of audience is actually other people's email lists. Other people's audiences are the best source of audiences because, you know, I'm reaching out to your audiences. They listen to this. Yeah. It's completely free. The supply of other people's audiences is inexhaustible. And it generally produces quite high quality inquiries relative, of course, but relative to, say, an inquiry off a LinkedIn post or an inquiry off a Facebook ad, an inquiry off online funnels of any sort, which are incredibly poor quality. So best audiences are other people's audiences. The best asset in my world is the webinar, because I can spend 45 minutes to an hour dating someone, give them an opportunity to get to know me, get to know my stuff, see if we have a click. And the best call to action I've described before is the consult, is reach out, click here, book a time, and provided you're comfortable, you're meeting the terms and conditions such as affordability, timeliness, and so on, let's have a chat. So by the time the reason I like the webinar is, and offline events are terrific, but they're a lot more expensive and harder to organize and more complicated. Yeah. A lot more moving parts. So I love the webinar because I'm a bit of an introvert and I sit here, our house.
I love webinars.
Yeah. You get to sit. I mean, we're on a little Castaways Beach in Queensland, Australia. Most people in Australia don't even know where that is. And our house is literally sits on the sand next to the waves. And I've got clients in 27 cities and 15 time zones around the world. I love that. I don't get out much. I don't want to get out much.
Yeah.
So the webinars are terrific because they're incredibly efficient. You can reach anyone in the world with an internet connection, or you can reach out to the person in the building next door to you. So if you have audiences coming from other people's networks and they attend your webinar and the call to action is the consult, that to me is the perfect formula. It's incredibly efficient, it's completely sustainable, rinse and repeatable, and it produces high quality consults for less than $100 a month. Pretty good.
I love that. That is gold. What are some mistakes that you see people making when it comes to getting some new leads into their business?
Wow. Well, I wrote half a book on the mistakes. Well, the first one, the easiest one to identify is, because I'll give you the big picture mistakes and then we can drill down if we've got time. The first one is Hugh Jackman marketing. It's the proposal, at first sight. In other words, it's practicing outbound marketing when inbound marketing is what they need to practice and to give people a date. So let's put that aside. So we're not going to do it. We're not going to spam anyone with emails saying, do you want, pay-per-click advertising today, or do you want a new website or whatever? We're not going to do that because it doesn't work. And the second mistake is also a real big picture, and it covers, I believe, 97% of marketing if it's failed for one simple reason, is people don't want to do it. And if you think about anyone who's ever tried to lose a lot of weight with a restrictive diet, do they stick to it?
No.
Most people don't stick to it, right? An overly strenuous exercise regime where we're flogging ourselves to death and we're sweating blood at the end of it, we stick to them? No, we don't stick to them. We have these images from, thank you Hollywood, thank you media, that say this is, it's time to step up. Good old Tony Robbins stuff, be more of who you want to be and so on, which is great. I mean, I wrote a book on personal development, 103,000 words. So I'm a great believer in goal setting and self-esteem and the rest of it. But we have to face a DNA fact. And then the fact is that we are inclined to want to do certain things and not inclined to do certain other things. And I believe this is the clue to actually our destiny. It's the clue to fulfillment. Is what are the things I'm drawn to in terms of serving clients? That's the key to fulfillment of our destiny. Don't set up a business just to make money. Yes, you may need to make money, but don't do it just for that purpose. Find out a way to make money that's fulfilling your destiny, and the clue to fulfilling your destiny is in what you want to do, what you're naturally inclined to want to do. So if you go to a seminar on, say, online funnels and Facebook ads, and there's split testing and there's segmentation, there's tripwires, and I ran Facebook ads for years and years and years, and they used to be highly profitable. They no longer are. But if you wake up the next morning after that seminar and you go, oh God, my head's hurting, but I should really do Facebook ads. I should really do that. Okay. It's not going to happen. It's going to be like that super restrictive diet you don't really want to do. You want the weight loss, right? I mean, you want the leads, but you want the outcome, but not the input. So anytime you feel, you feel yourself, it's probably a good word actually, because it's almost visceral, thinking I should do that with a pained frown, it's not the right marketing method for you. You've got to engage in a marketing method that when you wake up in the morning, you look forward to. So the way I structure it, first Thursday of every month, I wake up in the morning and I present a webinar, and there's typically, on that day, there's typically 400, 500, 600 people registered. And I wake up on that first Thursday morning of every month and go, oh, the webinar's today. Now, I'm not going to go, should I go? Should I present? I know I'm going to get a bunch of clients. I know I've got a great presentation that people are going to love. I know I'm going to build my email list, but I don't know if I feel like doing that. No, I don't. I wake up and go, great, it's webinar day. I get to strut my stuff on a global digital stage. Being the egotist I am, I enjoy that. And I'm going to pick up some consults and clients from it. So it's something I want to do. I don't want to find the audiences, but I want to present the webinar. So if people can check in with it, if you're what I call a cat, you like detail, you like routine, you like predictability, then you're probably someone who should go to LinkedIn and post an article every second day and hope you get lucky. But if you're not, if you're what I call a dog, if you're a big picture person, you like presenting and you like creating and you have a lot of ideas, then don't do the stuff that's analytical. Because you get all these, and mostly guys, but you get all these people who talk about click software and Facebook ads and split testing. They've got a team of 12 freaking PhDs doing this stuff. They're not you or me sitting at home in our office trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
It ends in tears. You have all these people paying all this money to subscription platforms, and after 6 months they cancel, they just give up. Why? Because they didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So really, really simple. First of all, stay away from outbound marketing, where we just practice Hugh Jackman marketing, proposing at first sight. Secondly, find a marketing method that you actually want to do, because whatever you want to do, you'll do. And as you do it more, you'll get very, very good at it.
Okay,
they're the big ones.
Yeah. So you mentioned that Facebook ads aren't as profitable as they once were. Are you doing any other form of paid advertising? What are you doing to fill up your webinars?
No, we don't do any form of paid advertising. I'm not necessarily against it, but if you do any form of paid advertising, it's like pay-per-click. So we will do a pay-per-click campaign, which we've done in the past for my latest book, which is Inbound Marketing book. Comes with a free pair of sunglasses. It's bright nuclear yellow. So we will do some pay-per-click with that, but it'll be for the book. It'll be for that first date. And pay-per-click can be great. I had a client in Philadelphia who's a foreclosure attorney. So people get a letter in their letterbox from their bank saying, we're going to sell your house from underneath you. And people will immediately go, foreclosure attorney Philadelphia. And he pops up, pay-per-click, get this free one-page checklist and these 7 points you need to know to stop the bank from foreclosing. So that's a good example of inbound marketing used with pay-per-click. So if you're a local business and there's enough search volume, then pay-per-click can be fantastic.
Got it. What's one of the best marketing books you've read?
Marketing books. Ooh, you mean apart from mine?
Yeah.
Okay. Gee, that's a great question. And I really wasn't prepared for that. So let me think.
You could tell me the best book in general that you've read.
Yeah, the best book ever, The 80-20 Principle by Richard Koch. If you have not read that, it is, in 40 years of reading business books, and it's also got some personal development aspects to it as well. It is, to me, head and shoulders above any other single book I've ever read. And certainly, the 80-20 principle is the Pareto principle. 20% of what we do gives us 80% of the results. So if we can figure out in marketing, for example, what the 20% is that gives us 80% of the results, well, we should do more of that, right?
Yep.
I tell you, another book that I read just recently was Joshua Long's Bottleneck Breakthrough, which certainly has some marketing aspects to it. And that's also a pretty worthwhile read. Awesome.
Well, what does it mean to you to make an impact?
What does it mean to me to make an impact? It's pretty much everything. And I think it's intrinsic. I think apart from sociopaths and narcissists, that we all want to make a difference. Sure, we need money, and sometimes our money motivation is number one and making a difference is number two, but sometimes it flips around depending on how much money you got. But it's everything to me. It's like saying, what's breathing to you?
Yeah.
Because if I think a big mistake a lot of people, and it's this altruistic motivation. It's not that we've got so much money that Bill Gates says we can start or Warren Buffett $2 billion foundation or something, but it's the motivation is so critical, fulfillment and happiness and peace of mind and self-esteem, that if we start a business with a view to making a bucket load of money, whatever it takes, and bending our personality out of shape, maybe our ethics out of shape, maybe not breaking a law, but because we fucking need the money, then we're going to screw ourselves up horribly. And I know it sounds like a cliche, but think about doing the best thing for the most people with the inclinations you have, and that's the clue to your destiny, and it's the clue to fulfillment of peace of mind and happiness. Just keep doing that until you get so good at it, people are paying you a bucket load of money.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Can you tell us a little bit about your books, where we can get them, and then where we can connect with you?
Amazon is easiest place to get them, Kindle or paperback. Yeah, depends on the subject matter. If it's what we've just been talking about, then definitely go and get Inbound Marketing book. It's actually, the title is Inbound Marketing book.
Yeah.
If they want a broader treatment of the subject of marketing, then The Science of Being in Demand would be the book to get. Mm-hmm. I'd recommend one of those two. The Inbound Marketing book is a very specific treatment of marketing for a niche, which is the professional service advisor or SaaS developer.
Cool. And where can we connect with you?
People can go and have a look at the website, which is leadzology.guru.
Okay.
And they can, if they want to have a chat, they can go and check out ineedinbound.com.
ineedinbound.com.
Have a read of the terms and conditions there. ineedinbound.com, and we'll have a 15-minute conversation and see if I've got something here that can help.
Awesome. Any last words of wisdom?
Yeah, I think, and this is going to sound a little contradictory probably, but one is back yourself. So back your instincts, back your hunches, back what you believe is the right thing to do. And the contradictory part is get help. Find someone that you trust. Find someone who does not say, give me your money up front. Find someone who's prepared to put skin in the game with you and listen to that person, but ultimately still back yourself. So in other words, don't learn from your own mistakes. It's very expensive. Learn from that other person's mistakes. Totally. But also don't take what their recommendations are carte blanche. Just, look at them, sit in your common sense corner, and doesn't matter how amazing you think they are, just run them through your common sense filter and say, does that make sense? Do I feel like that's the right thing to do? Just go ahead and do it. And for God's sake, stop chasing shiny things.
That's huge.
Get your strategy sorted and stick to it and make it work.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tom, for being on this show today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, Rachel.